Hey there, my name is Christine Lynn. I am an accountability coach for women who want to live more intentional lives, and I'm so excited today to help you create your very own quality downtime menu. Let's get into it. Let's talk about quality downtime. You might not know this, but I am the sole income earner for our family. I'm also my husband's caregiver when his chronic illness is really bad. We have two dogs that are honestly rather needy. We have a house to take care of, and I do the majority of the housework as well. So, might not surprise you to know that I'm rather busy. The days are rather full. And I've found that through the last few years of adjusting to these changes, that it's so important to make sure that my downtime is high quality because it's often not of high quantity. Sure, it would be really nice to be able to have regular week-long vacations and less on my plate, less full days, but that's not my reality at the moment. And so I have discovered how to improve the quality of my downtime when I can't improve the quantity. I'm going to need you to grab a piece of paper and a pen, and you're going to first fold your piece of paper into four sections. So fold it in half, then fold it in half again, and then you will be all set to go. Now, before we do anything with your piece of paper that's been folded into quarters, I suggest that you define the kinds of downtime that do not feel good to you. Okay? Because a lot of times these are the things that we engage in most often, even though they don't leave us feeling rested at the end. So, what are some examples of this? I have mine. Scrolling on Instagram. I have found that scrolling can feel productive because it feels like we're doing something even though nothing's really getting done and it's not restful feeling at the end of it, it feels like I'm doing something. And when I'm in this go, go, go kind of vibe, I have a hard time slowing down. And so I want to feel like I'm doing something, like it's continuous motion. And so I find that scrolling is definitely something that does not feel good to me, but it's something I often do during my downtime. I am an extreme introvert, and so I actually add socializing to my list of downtime activities that don't feel great to me. Now, spending a weekend with family, getting on the phone with loved ones, it's important connection time. So I will say that becoming more and more important to me lately, but I also don't see it as necessarily restful, right? So I'm dividing that in between like this doesn't feel like quality downtime, but it is important connection time. So I try to distinguish that. Another thing that does not feel necessarily restful to me is reading nonfiction, especially personal development, business development, personal growth, those kinds of books. Now, I love those kinds of books, but I discovered a few years ago that these kinds of books, every time I would read them, they really just kept adding to my mental to-do list because I'd be like, oh, I should do that. That's a great idea. I should be doing that. Why am I not doing that? Right? And so it turns into this thing that's not restful to me. I enjoy reading those books and I'm more picky about which ones I read nowadays because I don't take a lot of time for it. So you can see on my bookshelf over here, I have some great nonfiction books, but I don't consider that quality downtime anymore. Okay, now listen up for this last one because it's so important. Two things that do not feel good as quality downtime are multitasking and rushing. And this is harder to distinguish for us, but I'm going to say something really important. So listen up, okay? The way you do an activity matters just as much as the activity itself. When I am multitasking and rushing, that doesn't feel good, no matter what the activity is. But that same activity can potentially feel restful if I am single tasking and intentionally moving slowly. So I want you to take a few minutes and think through your life. Your stuff might be totally different than mine, but think through the things that you often do during your downtime that do not leave you feeling rested and recharged. Okay, so now let's get into creating your quality downtime menu. This is your menu of activities where anytime you've got a little bit of downtime going on, you can pick from this list because they're not our default activities necessarily. And sometimes it's like you've got a free 20 minutes. And so you lean into like scrolling on Instagram or the things that don't feel as good, where you could have used that 20 minutes to do something that felt good. It just didn't necessarily occur to you in that moment. So it's nice to have this menu written down and posted on the fridge or wherever you're going to see it so that you can be more intentional with your downtime. So, why did we divide it into four quarters? This is because I want you to think of a few different categories of downtime. For me, I like to distinguish between how much brain power an activity takes. So I've got like medium brain power downtime activities, and then I have like total vegetable mode, like vegging out, no brain power required downtime activities. So those are two of my categories. And then the other two that I like to use are physical and non-physical. So how much physical energy is this activity going to take? So you can see on here I have written in my quarters each one because I'm going to categorize them. So when I've got some downtime, I can think, hey, how much brain power do I have at the moment? Or do I want to do something physical or do I need to flop on the couch? Right? The other way you could distinguish is you could categorize by people centric activities and non people centric activities. And I kind of have written that down in my menu because honestly, I only have like two people centric activities on my whole downtime menu. Like I said, extreme introvert. This is something that I have done for myself, and every time I actually utilize it, it makes a huge difference. It helps me feel like I'm taking care of myself, and like I actually feel more rested even during very full days and weeks. So I am going to kind of read through a few of mine just so you can get some activity ideas. Okay. On my physical activities list, I have go for a relaxing walk. Now, I say relaxing very purposefully because this is not an exercise walk. I also have on there to stretch or play with the dogs. And then I also have on my physical activities list slow chores. Now, you would maybe not think that chores should be on my quality downtime list, but there are times that I've got some downtime and I want the house to feel more clean, but I don't want to rush because rushing feels bad and wastes energy. So instead, I will intentionally move very slowly and kind of wander the house, tidying things up, slow chores. Okay. On my non physical list, I have sit outside in silence. Get some nature time. I also have take a nap. There are so many times that I've got a little bit of downtime and I waste it, I fritter it away on Lord knows what, when I could have just taken a nap. And then I later on think of why didn't I just take a nap? That probably would have felt better. In my veg out brain power section of the list, I have just two activities. I have listened to an entertaining podcast. Yes, I qualified it by saying entertaining, not a personal growth podcast or business podcast that's going to add to my mental to-do list, entertainment only. And also single tasking watching TV. I've got nothing against watching TV. I love it. But I often find myself multitasking while watching TV, which is not as restful as actually just watching TV, single tasking. In the medium brain power required section, I have much more activities. This is my fullest section, and your sections don't have to all be even. You might have a lot more in the physical than non-physical, however it works. So the two somewhat social things I have on here are to play cards or board games with my family or to call and talk to my best friend. Those things feel good. They do feel like recharging. Yes, they're social, but those are the two social things on my list. I've also got to read fiction. I already discussed with you why it's fiction specifically. Also, sketching. I love doing some sketching and coloring with color pencils, painting, maybe do a puzzle or do some journaling. So these are the things that are on my quality downtime menu. And when I have this menu in front of me of activities that feel good to me, that help me to feel rested and recharged, I feel like I can take on so much more. I don't feel as exhausted all the time. And I feel like I'm taking care of myself because I am. And that's a really good feeling. I would love to know what ends up on your quality downtime menu. Please, please leave a comment and let me know. I'm always looking for more ideas for my own. And I find it fascinating how different everyone's quality downtime menus can be. I have taken many clients through this process as through our coaching journey together, and I find that it's just so helpful to have this intentional way to spend our time. If this video has been helpful for you, please give it the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and that way you won't miss whatever else I decide to create for you. Have a good day, friend.